Hey guys, welcome back to Suburbs of Seattle. I'm your host, Andrey Gulyy, and I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the two types of loans I mentioned this morning in our first video. And we talked briefly about cash out refis and HELOCs, which are home equity lines of credit. So I want to talk to you about a little bit about when you should use them, in what circumstances, and what they do for you, what opportunities they can open up for you. If you have a house that you've owned for a while, you probably have some equity in it, right? Your house is probably worth more than it was worth before. And if you're trying to buy a house, keep this in mind in the future because, like I mentioned in the morning, don't wait to buy real estate and wait. The reason why is because when you buy real estate and wait, a world of opportunities opens up for you if you wait long term, right? One of the opportunities that opens up to you, and one of the most known opportunities on how people build wealth through real estate, is by using cash out refis and home equity lines of credit. Let me explain. Let's say you have owned a house for 5-6 years and it's maybe worth $250,000-$300,000 more than you bought it for, right? Like in the example from this morning's video. So what a cash out, I want to explain to you the differences between a cash out refi and a home equity line of credit. Let's say you've owned a house for 5 years. Your house is worth $300,000 more. In a cash out refi, you go to a bank and you say, hey, I want you to refinance my whole loan and I want to pull out some money from the equity that I've built up. So let's say you've owned a house, for 5 years, let's say your current mortgage on it is $250 and what the house is worth is $500, right? Let's start there. So the bank will, on the $250 that you already have, they'll add on, let's say $100,000 for our example, right? And they'll give you a new mortgage packaged up as one payment for that new $350,000 price. This makes sense to do if you like having one payment for your house, right? And if you can get a significantly lower interest rate than you got before. Really, the interest rate part is the main key here. Forget about the having one payment thing. The main way that this makes sense is if you have a significantly lower rate. Then you can borrow money for cheap. You can take that $100,000 and go buy a second house with it, as in this morning's video's example. You buy a second house with it, and then you sit back, relax, and you wait another 5 or 10 years, and guess what? You repeat the process with both of those houses that you already own. The first one, assuming you rent it out long-term or short-term, we've been talking about Airbnb opportunities as well. So you rent out the first house, you live in the second one, and you wait for another 5 or 10 years, whatever time it takes for equity to continue to be built up in those homes. And guess what you do afterwards? The same thing. 5-10 years passes, you pull out equity lines of credit or cash out refis from both houses, and you buy another 2 houses with it. Now you have 4, right? And by the time your retirement comes around, you have 10, 12 homes. Most of them will probably be close to being paid off by then. You have 10 to 12 homes bringing in, $20,000 a month for you. And guess what? Go retire, go travel, go to Paris, go wherever it is you all wanted to go your whole life, right? And you can live with passive income. Don't forget to have reserves, but you can live with passive income. Now, that's a cash out refi example. A HELOC, it's going to be the same example. The only difference is, number one, your rate in most cases will probably be higher than a cash out refi. Home equity line of credit, it's more of just kind of like a credit card. You just pull out a line from underneath your home. The nice thing about it is you don't have to start paying for that line of credit until you use it. Many investors use line of credits. They pull out a line of credit from their home. They sit, they wait for the right opportunity. Their payment on their home is still the same. And when they use that line of credit, that's when they start paying a separate payment for that line of credit. So it's nice in the way that you don't have to pay a bigger payment as you do in a cash out refi, because in a cash out refi, right, if you take out more, typically you're paying a bigger payment unless you can get a significantly lower rate, which is what I mentioned before. So HELOC, it's different. It's more of like a credit card. It's there. You can use it whenever you want to. And the moment you take your first draw, that's when you start making payments on it. So a little bit different. Generally speaking, if you can get a cash out refi for a really good rate, do that. A line of credit is nice as well. Sometimes people use line of credits to remodel their homes and do things like that with it. I personally wouldn't recommend that unless it builds up significant equity in your home. Don't do it. But anyways, those are the two differences for you guys. Feel free to call me at the number below if you're looking for a more in-depth conversation. I would be honored to sit down with you and help you out. Thank you so much for your time. I'll see you in the next video.